So brace yourselves, I'm gonna hit it. And there it is. And it's gone.
Back in April of 2017, someone by the name of Circle Master completed one of Final Fantasy VII's most iconic challenges, getting Cloud and Barret to level 99 in the reactor right before the first boss. It took him almost 2 years to complete after his first post in the infamous Dick Tree forum thread, and he was celebrated across the internet, with some even calling him a hero. However, he was far from the first person to complete the level 99 reactor grind, let alone provide video proof. Back in March of 2010, an old school speedrunner by the name of Cart7 completed this challenge, along with uploading video proof and detailed milestones of her progress. To go even further back, she credits 2 others in the video description who claimed a completion before her own. For decades, people have talked about and attempted this challenge, with its roots going back to the late 90s and very early 2000s, but back in the day, legitimate completions of these grinds were not well documented. While some of Circle Master's and Cart7's grinds were archived, most of them were not. It wasn't until 2019 when an FF series speedrunner by the name of Dave Stereo livestreamed the entire pre-guard Scorpion grind, proving he did it legitimately without modifying the game. Many people believe this is the most ridiculous grind in Final Fantasy VII, and while it is an insane journey on its own, there is one more challenge that puts the reactor level 99 grind to absolute shame. In the very first room of the game, as soon as you get off the train, get through the dialogue, and fight the first 2 enemies at the end of the platform, you can get to the next screen. However, if you go into the next screen and back to the first, you can get random encounters there. At first glance, you may not think there's a difference between grinding here and grinding inside the reactor, but in reality, you couldn't be more wrong. To help me talk about why, here's Abasoft to provide the details.
In total, it takes 2,452,783 experience to get Cloud to level 99. Keeping this in mind, each encounter in the reactor grants an average of 79.2 experience. Based on this number, it would take roughly 30,969.48 encounters to reach max level. For the very first screen, each encounter gives an average of 27.9 experience, meaning it would take roughly 87,913.37 encounters to reach level 99. Looking back to Dave Stereo's live-streamed grind that took over 406 hours, we can estimate that reaching level 99 in the first screen will take just over 1,153 hours, and that's if you play optimally. For those familiar with the game, I'm sure your immediate thought is this can't be possible. Outside of the ridiculous requirements to reach max level in this way, there's also no save point in the first room, meaning you have to keep the game open for the entire grind. For the longest time, many people have stated that this grind wouldn't happen seamlessly, requiring the use of an emulator and save states. However, there was one person who disagreed.
Weed guy, you're getting your spin now.
Today, we're going to take a look at this challenge, the person who decided to take it on, and the many challenges he faced along the way. Stay hydrated, folks, and I hope you all enjoy today's video. MonetaryDragon is a Final Fantasy VII expert who specializes in 100% speedrun theory crafting and ridiculous boss fights. Since the late 1990s, his goal has been to push his game knowledge and expertise to the absolute limit with challenges most might think to be impossible. From MD's knowledge, he was the first person to ever beat Ruby weapon without materia, and to beat both Ruby and Emerald weapons without using a controller. You might be thinking that's a little far-fetched, but in the very early 2000s, MD had his extremely detailed fact published to RPG Gamer, telling people how to exactly reproduce his results. Much of his work was logged on the now defunct FF Online message boards as well, solidifying his status as a legend in the community. Fast forward to today, as of the writing of this video, MonetaryDragon has spearheaded many route changes and new strategies in the 100% speedrun, resulting in him getting the very first sub 18-hour, 17-hour, and 16-hour world records in the category. If there was anyone who could make this challenge happen, it was him. Now, MD had already been planning this grind for the last several years, and that planning was based around one main goal: get the ex-soldier, or Cloud before he's named, to level 99 in the first room of the game with the entire grind livestream for documentation. All of this would be done without modifications to the game, and then as a victory lap after the grind is over, he'll do a 100% run using that file. Since there's no save point in that first room, and MD couldn't use save states since that would be considered cheating by his standards, the game would have to somehow run the entire time. MD estimated that it would take over 1200 hours to finish, given the need to heal occasionally and the process of obtaining encounters likely not being optimal. I think it goes without saying, this grind needed to be completed on a PC. Now, keeping a PC or a game console on for such a long time doesn't seem like a good idea, and that barely scratches the surface of potential issues. MonetaryDragon initially thought that getting the 1998 PC version of FF7 running on Windows 10 would be his best bet, but after many crashes and attempts to solve those problems, he opted to use the Steam version instead. Getting the game working without being connected to the internet wasn't hard, as the only validation for owning the game happens on launch. This is good because MD wanted to prevent anything from closing the game or restarting the PC. This included turning off automatic updates, removing the Ethernet cable from the laptop, and turning on airplane mode to disconnect from the internet after starting FF7. Since the game has to constantly be running and can't be saved, an uninterruptible power supply needs to be hooked up at all times. This is best done with a laptop since it has its own battery, but in order to prepare for power outages or storms, he wanted another level of protection in case something went wrong. So the idea was to have a laptop with a battery, the power supply, then the external backup battery, all between getting power from the house. One could go even further and invest in a generator, which is generally a good idea for when your power goes out, but I think that getting one just for this grind would be a little bit overkill. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. To prevent any additional hardware issues from keeping the laptop on for long periods of time, MD purchased a cooling pad to keep the laptop from overheating. He also would put the laptop to sleep at the end of each stream, giving it a break but allowing him to return to the grind where he left off. The last thing MonetaryDragon was concerned about was the potential for a memory leak with the game running for so long. Depending on how something is coded, processes that happen within an application may keep using that memory when those processes are complete. This cycle can repeat, taking up more and more of the available memory until nothing is left. Once your computer runs out of memory to give, the application with the memory leak will crash. Over the course of 1200 hours, the risk of this happening grows as the challenge continues. There's other factors which could cause issues with the grind, such as the Windows operating system growing more unstable as the grind progresses, but you kind of get the idea. Outside of this, all MD needed to do was capture the game from his other PC, and he was good to go. The only problem with all this was the amount of time needed. Committing to the ex-soldier grind in this way required MonetaryDragon to not have much else going on at the same time. So he had to make sure that he wasn't traveling anytime soon, didn't have any other projects he wanted to pursue, and several other things that had to happen for the stars to align. That's why it would take several years for MD to finally start the grind. Now this project was going to be absolutely mind-numbing if he didn't have anything else to do, so he decided to work on games in his backlog while doing the grind, streaming them both at once. His initial plan was to do this with a foot pedal USB device, covering all the actions needed to grind, all while using his feet to control. However, he would also have a wireless keyboard, a PSX controller, and the laptop keyboard to do inputs with, just in case one failed. With all of his preparation complete, on July 15th of 2024, MonetaryDragon fired up his stream and got to work on leveling up the ex-soldier. On the first day, he put 9 hours into the grind and made it to level 20 without any problems. The next day, he was able to show the entire process of waking up the laptop and bringing the game back up seamlessly. However, something unfortunate would happen just under 43 minutes into the stream.
The strat, the enemies here dropped potions, and they dropped them fucking A. May have crashed. Yeah, we probably crashed.
Instead of using the foot pedal as he originally planned, MonetaryDragon was using the keyboard to control Cloud. MD accidentally hit the Windows key on the keyboard, exiting out of the game's full screen mode. To minimize the risk of anything happening to the game or laptop, he looked for a way to disable the key, and while doing that, he saw that the blunder crashed the game. Thankfully, it was just a day into the grind, so starting over wouldn't be that big of a deal. However, MD wasn't going to leave anything to chance, so he switched to the foot pedal to avoid further problems. So after taking the next stream to fix any computer issues, he got back on track and was already up to level 21 by the end of his stream. His power went out, and not just his, but for his entire block. This was exactly why he wanted that uninterruptible power supply, and it shows how important preparation is for a challenge like this. Luckily, it was only for about 10 minutes, but this was the exact situation he was worried about when planning everything. Thankfully, the next time MD streamed, there were no issues, and he was able to continue the grind as planned. One of the things I didn't mention in the beginning is how back heavy it is trying to reach level 99. Reaching the middle of level 46 only marks 10% of the overall grind, and getting to level 79 is the halfway point. Progress from there on becomes unbearably slow, and is likely a major contributing factor to people dropping the grind early. Spending hours, let alone days, without seeing any meaningful progress is a rough experience, and would drive any normal person insane. This is why MD came loaded with a backlog of games that would take him through the entire grind. Things were going well for the next couple of months, with MonetaryDragon making decent progress most days he streamed, but it wasn't long before MD would hit another bump that seemed to put the entire grind at risk.
We're having some issues with our pedal. So this is with controller, what I'm doing here. Yeah, pedal seems completely unresponsive. This could be bad.
On September 29th, while playing Power Wash Simulator, the USB foot pedal he was using stopped responding. The first thing MD checked right after this happened was that he could still control the game with his attached PS1 controller, verifying the grind was still on. Now, there are several points of failure here, whether it be the foot pedal itself, the USB connection, or the program that converts the inputs. While it's not known how exactly this happened, the tried and true resolution of unplugging it and plugging it back in may have resolved it, as long as the hardware itself didn't fail. The only problem is that FF7 is known to crash sometimes when you connect and disconnect input devices while the game is running. The last thing MD wanted to do was have the game crash and lose 573 hours of progress, so he spent the rest of the stream using the PlayStation controller for the grind. This was one of the first signs of the laptop becoming unstable as well, introducing another layer of uncertainty to the run. Thankfully, the next stream he did on his main channel came with a solution in the form of his wireless keyboard. Remember, this was connected at the very beginning of the grind as a backup, but he stopped using it to use the foot pedal instead. Despite the bump in the road and the risk of crashing being a real threat, MD pushed on and continued strong into October, reaching the 50% mark of the grind. MD's power did go out again on October 15th, but his power supply did hold up without any problems. After that, the rest of October and November were pretty smooth sailing for the FF7 laptop. By December, MD started out with 74% of the grind complete and was making excellent progress throughout the month, putting him on track to hit 90% by the new year. However, on December 24th, MD had a scare with something new he didn't expect to happen.
There's a lot of disk read activity, more so than usual. Especially considering it was only asleep for like one overnight. Steam's gone. We're back in FF7. I don't know what happened to Steam. This could be very bad.
The Steam client had crashed, creating a feeling of dread that the grind may come to an early end. Thankfully, FF7 was still running, and after MD checked a few things, the grind would continue. Despite this scare, the rest of the stream went fine with no issues, but putting the laptop back to sleep and bringing it back up for the next stream was still a gamble. MonetaryDragon was concerned that FF7 may not be able to run through any further sleep and wake cycles, and if Steam crashed, how long would it be before FF7 followed suit? At this point, he still needed another 160 hours to complete the challenge, but keeping the laptop on for nearly a month straight would introduce even more risks. Ultimately, he would put his laptop back to sleep at the end of the stream, and the question of FF7 still being there would linger in his mind over Christmas break. On December 26th, MD started his stream and found that the laptop woke up by itself at some point between the 24th and then. For context, the laptop wasn't waking up from sleep much before then, and within the last couple of weeks, it woke up by itself 3 different times. Given that the Steam crash just happened, MD was expecting the worst.
So the laptop has spontaneously woke up overnight. It also did that the night before Steam crashed. And it did that a few days prior. Okay, we seem to be in. You can't see this, but my hand, you can kind of see right now. See that? I'm not faking this. I am absolutely not faking this.
FF7 was still going, and it would keep going until January 21st of 2025. After 6 months of grinding, with 1,201 hours logged on MD's timer before reaching the final day, MD was only 1,893 experience away from hitting level 99 at the start of his stream. Slowly but surely, he was making his way towards that final encounter. People from all around the community came in so they wouldn't miss the achievement that was about to happen. At the 1,203 hour mark of the grind, MD made it to his last encounter. To celebrate, he set up his HP before the fight to be just above the threshold for Lucky 7's and was hoping he could make that his final hit. Thankfully, the game came through.
Okay, we need to take 2 damage. Fuck yeah!
I'm at level 47. That's great.
I didn't plan that. I think we crashed it.
At the last possible moment, as the game was transitioning from the battle screen to the results screen, it crashed. In an instant, over 1,200 hours of progress was wiped. No saves, no backups, nothing but the stream itself proving that this was real. Many people, including myself, felt their hearts sink into their stomachs when this happened. While MD was somewhat in shock, he bounced back quickly and realized something. He had defeated the final encounter, and the game was about to show him that he earned level 99. But the calculation happens as you're transitioning to the results screen. This meant that MD completed what he set out to do, despite the game denying him the save in the victory lap. Still, a very important question hangs in the air. What the hell happened? To explain this, I'm going to tag in Abysoft to give you all the rundown.
MD didn't have any crash pop-ups on his machine, and when checking the Windows event viewer, there was nothing there either. Members of the FF7 speedrunning community, such as Zephyr and Dash Retro, also started looking into the crash, doing everything they could to reproduce what they just witnessed on MD's stream. While it's easy to modify the game to get the exact in-game variables MD had, the environment itself is a much bigger challenge. MD was playing on an air-gapped laptop with a clean installation of Windows 10 prepared specifically for this grind. This, combined with the uptime of both the game and laptop reaching about 188 days, Steam crashing back in December, and other minor differences, getting this to happen again did not seem likely. However, those investigating had a few theories as to what was going on. One of these was doing Lucky 7's and then getting the level up to level 99, possibly causing some sort of overflow. But Dash Retro tried this exact same thing on his stream and it did not cause a crash. The other and more likely scenario was that when MD hit level 99, the game tried to reward him with that achievement and wasn't able to since Steam crashed back in December. Achievements are listed both in the game launcher and Steam itself, so it's possible when FF7 tried to reward MD with the level 99 achievement, the game tried to communicate with Steam, and since Steam wasn't there since it crashed in December, the operation couldn't complete and it crashed the game. This was Dash's main theory, and on January 25th, by going into the final encounter with the exact same parameters as MD, and by using his wife's account that never had the level 99 achievement, he confirmed that it causes a crash.
Okay, then he changed rows. And then defended. There's the Lucky 7's. Big pop-off. That's what it was! It was the achievement! It was the achievement! Yes! We recreated it!
This verified that MD reached level 99 before needing to confirm the experience gain on the results screen, going back to what was mentioned earlier. On January 31st, All doubt was put to rest when MD booted up his laptop and saw the top level achievement on the FF7 launcher. It wasn't on Steam yet, but after launching the game, the top level would show up on the Steam achievement list, with the unlock date showing as January 31st. MonetaryDragon did not fail this challenge in any sense. Sure, he was denied his pop-off in the 100% run afterwards, but this was a full-blown legitimate ex-soldier level 99 grind completion, and not even the game's last-ditch effort could take that away from him. This is just my opinion, but I don't think anything else FF7 related will top this challenge. Sure, there are world records being set and new glitches breaking the game completely, but those happen from time to time. This is the first time anyone has ever gotten the ex-soldier to level 99, and it's likely one of the biggest tests of patience in any game. The fact that it was done in the true spirit of the challenge, as one continuous session without save states or any kind of backup in case anything went wrong, elevates the accomplishment beyond being a mere grind to one of the greatest moments in Final Fantasy VII history. If there's one thing to say, it's that MD stuck to the idea that this run needed to be done with 100% transparency and legitimacy. His dedication to streaming every moment of the grind, showing the exact experience earned so far at the beginning and end of every stream to prove nothing was happening offline, along with not using save states or modifying the game's memory, is something to be celebrated. One might think this is a complete waste of time, but is it really time wasted if you're fulfilling a lifelong personal goal, or watching a YouTube video about that very thing? I'll leave that up to you to decide. If you enjoyed, go check out MonetaryDragon's Twitch channel for all the Final Fantasy VII content you could ever want. Also, big thanks to Abyssal for bringing this to my attention and for him taking the time to be on the video today. Stay hydrated, folks, and thank you all so much for watching.